Hey, how are you? So we're going to touch on something tonight that I don't know that I've ever spoken about quite so clearly. We're going to touch on the idea of desire or wanting, and it seems like you know how did this come up for me? This came up a lot lately. I spoke recently, on this channel about fear and how we were caught in fear, and fear was like not trusting life, and the thought came that often we were looking at people and we're saying, well, what do they want? What do they want? When people come through our sphere, we're and so if you look deep into that, then often the thought can come up within us of not only what does he want or what does she want, but how can they serve me? How can they help me get what I want? How can, the people that come into our circle, into our sphere, into our life, how can they help me get what I want? And so if our context in life, if our how we're living is based on wanting, then how we look at everybody is in that, and we're living in a society where we've been really conditioned to want. We're bombarded with stuff to want, and not just stuff to want, cars and travel and relationships. It's all this wanting, but the we want to be slimmer, we want to be healthier, we want to be whatever. It's just we've been conditioned into this life of wanting. So what happens in wanting? Well, I'm going to just say that in my opinion, wanting takes us out of the moment. And if you're listening and this comes up for you, you think, well, holy shit, of course I want. I mean, wanting is part of living. But when you look at, I don't know if any of you ever studied Hawkins, Dr. David Hawkins. Wanting is below 200 in his scale. Desire is in. I always had a bit of trouble with it. I thought, well, how do I live, without desire if I don't want things. But there's this possibility, and when you look at Eckhart Tolle's teaching, and all the real great masters have said the same thing as Tolle in many ways, is that when we're living in the moment, when we're living in the present, then we're living in our full potential, or we have the possibility of living in our full potential. We have the possibility of living in peace, and experiencing love, an unconditional love. But if we're living in wanting, there's no unconditional love, because everything's based on what can I get. So, but we don't look at it this way. We don't realize that we've been conditioned to want, you know, and then judging ourselves by if we don't have stuff, by where the style of home we're living in, or we're judging ourselves by our relationship and all that kind of stuff. So this is wanting. Think about it. Just give it some consideration, because it's not an easy one. It's like, this is pretty subtle. What do you mean that wanting is wrong or bad? Well, I'm not saying it's wrong or bad. I'm encouraging you to become aware of it. Not It's not wrong or bad. Just become aware of wanting, and how sometimes wanting can take you out of the game. And you know, it many of us have learned that wanting tells the universe that we don't have something. So often in the game of manifesting, we've been told to act as though we already have it, because when we're speaking to the universe, when we say I want, we're telling the universe we don't have it, and that's what we get. We get more of what more wanting, really. And we realize that from the just the simple formulas that we've been given for many many years around manifesting, to act as though, give thanks for this thing or this way of living, or whatever that. So we recognize that wanting actually kind of works against us. but many of us still have a list of things we want, and I had a teacher many years ago, Paul Lowe, and Paul used to said to set the intention very lightly. If there's something that comes up that seems like it tweaks us, like for me, I have this thing where I really would like to go deep water, blue water sailing. I have this, it's like a bucket list thing, and so the trick for me is to not, not to hold on to it tightly, and or be disappointed or imagine that it's not going to happen or it is going to happen. Just to be with it. Okay, just throw it into the universe lightly, and not from a wanting point of view. So yeah, when we're in a wanting, when we're always wanting, we have a list of things that we want. We tend to use people, and and then if we're living at that level, we also tend to distrust people because we think they're going to use us, and to get what they want. So just look at wanting, and look at it as the possibility of letting go of wanting, letting go of the desire to have anything, just to be with what is, and have gratitude for what is now. And in that gratitude is expansion, is love, is peace. And everything is an unfolding. I know this is like, a cliche, but everything is unfolding exactly as it needs to, wants to. And when we're in the flow, we have, the potential to be aware, because we're not thinking about wanting. So we're aware, we're actually there. We get our intuitive hits. We get, things unfold, and so living in gratitude for what is a bit of an antidote to wanting, and recognize that society has been trying to sell us on the idea of wanting. That's it. Just thought I'd throw that out at you. Wanting, baby. And now I've been reading from this little book, and I guess I read from this book because I really love this little book. I've fallen in love with this little book. I'm not a master of anything. I think I'm a student, if you will. And the Tao-te-ching by Stephen Mitchell. And it's an amazing little book. We're on chapter 21, which is only 4 little paragraphs. And we're going to read chapter 21 of the Tao-te-ching. And again, even with, um, spiritual awakening or consciousness, or again, not to want, just to be aware of the gifts as they've come. If you're listening to this, you're already on the road. You're already interested in consciousness, and how do I feel comfortable in my own skin? How do I feel peace? How can I be one with what is in this moment? And if you have an interest in like the Tao Te Ching, then you're already moving in that direction. You're already feeling the call. So just be with it. Beautiful. I suggest that you get a copy of this. It's beautiful. I had a book come in today in the mail. Where did it go? It's called Letting Go. I've given my copy of Letting Go away to somebody, which happens. And so I ordered another one. It came in the mail. It's beautiful. Okay. The Tao Te Ching by lao-tzu, interpretation by Stephen Mitchell. It says, the master keeps her mind. See that again. The master keeps her mind always at one with the Tao. That is what gives her her radiance. The Tao is ungraspable. How can her mind be at one with it? Because she doesn't cling to ideas. The Tao is dark and unfathomable. How can it make her radiant? Because she lets it. Since before time and space were, the Tao is. It is beyond is and is not. How do I know this is true? I look inside myself and see. So we are one with the Tao. The Tao is one with us. because the Tao is one. So in the back, Stephen Mitchell has written a little, his interpretation, a short note or two on each chapter. And the chapters are short, and so are his notes. And I'll read it for you. Chapter 21. Before time and space, Philo said, today means boundless and unexhaustible eternity. Today means boundless and unexhaustible eternity. Months and years and all periods of time are concepts of men who gauge everything by number. The true name of eternity is today. The true name of eternity is now. No time. Okay, the Tao. Beautiful, deep, wonderful. So look at this list of, our want list, if you will. And we, just if there's stuff that's coming up that feels like it, would be nice to experience or have. Not that we actually own anything here, but just hold it lightly. Okay, love you guys. And if you're on my YouTube channel, love it if you subscribe. And if you're watching this on Facebook, love it if you go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. And write a comment here or there, wherever you're seeing this, and give me your thoughts on this question. How is wanting serving you or not serving you in your life? Okay, love you guys. Cheers.